When Zendaya was promoting Challengers, she told we the audience to watch the film 3 times because there's 3 main characters, and she promised we would gain a new perspective on each viewing. Was this a ploy to make more money? Probably. Am I going to take her at her word regardless? Of course. Art, Tashi, and Patrick are the greatest love triangle I've ever seen. And I haven't seen many, but the ones I have are similar to Challengers in that they feature 2 men vying for a woman's love. So the girl's a given, and the real competition is between the love of her life and some guy. It's not a competition. We know who's going to end up together. But Challengers, even though the movie opens with an adult Tashi and Art married with a kid, it still maintains the suspense and uncertainty of who will end up together, because every pairing of this triangle could, if not all 3 of them, or none of them. So that sense of determinism felt in a lot of other love triangles is never felt here. Tashi is the catalyst. She's the one who gets things moving, because Patrick and Art were perfectly fine being friends for years, acting like they weren't in love with each other, until she comes along. She enacts their first kiss, and they're both competing for her, but she really doesn't want either of them. All she really wants is the relationship with Tennis she can get through them. Tennis is Tashi's true love. And the conversation she has with Patrick and Art after her party provides a lot of insight. Tashi says Patrick doesn't know tennis when he equates it to simply hitting a ball with a racket. She claims tennis is a relationship. And it's through this line that we can understand both her marriage with Art and her relationship with Patrick. For Tashi, love is competition, and she has to win. If Tashi's the catalyst, Patrick and Art are the heart. The pairing of the 2 of them is the only situation where the feelings are mutually reciprocated. But Patrick doing Art's own serve on him? Oh, he ate. And me personally, if I'm Patrick, bro, I'd be even worse. Because Mr. Tashi Duncan, what is your problem? Blaming Patrick for Tashi's injury? What are you on about? And it's understandable from Tashi's perspective. Her fight with Patrick just threw her off. She probably didn't have time to meditate like she usually does. And she wasn't in the right mindset. So to then go on and suffer a career-ending injury right after said fight, I'm Tashi. I would have hated that man for the rest of my life. To the day I die. But Art Donaldson. No. Mr. Tashi Duncan. What is your problem? Like, why are you mad on her behalf? And don't get me wrong, I'm Art's #1 defender. A snake for sure, certified. But he saw what he wanted and he went after it. So for that, I gotta respect him. But if I'm Patrick, oh, okay. Like when Art was like, Patrick, get the fuck out. Okay, no problem. Like, not only would I have done his own serve on him to tell him I slept with your wife, I would have been talking crazy across the court. Find me with as many unsportsmanlike conduct fines as you want. I do not care. It wasn't just last night in Atlanta too, where I let your wife spit in my face and she still cheated and then told me to let you win the match. Art, you gotta sleep with his mom or something. Like, that's the only you have to. That's the only way. And truly, that's why I really can't be too harsh on any of these characters. Cause you put me in any of their shoes, I'm moving downright diabolical. Challengers is a 2 hour and 11-minute film, but every single scene earns its right to have made the cut. Exhibit A. Art inviting Tashi to lunch because he conveniently had extra meal swipes. Whole time his true motives? To defend his reigning title as #1 instigator. The audacity to say, he doesn't love you. Bro, what? Art, what is your problem? I can't keep defending you. Really, Patrick should have RKO'd him off that alone. But plot twist, Tashi's gonna come back talking about, who said I want someone to love me? Oh, my bad. And yet another Tashi line that I'm obsessed with. Keeps me up at night. Because what does she mean? Obviously, love isn't her main priority. But Tashi is such a compelling and complex character because she's so simple. What does she want? A tennis career. What can she not have? A tennis career. I just feel that who said I want someone to love me reveals so much about her character that I can't truly appreciate or even fully understand off one viewing alone. And this is what I mean when I say, for the movie, nothing more is needed, but as a fan, I want more. As an adult, Tashi struggles with an inferiority complex, and she knows she's not inferior, but the world could forget. And she struggles with the possibility of being publicly perceived as just the coach or just the wife. This is exemplified when she changes the Game Changer ad to Game Changers. So how did she handle becoming a mother? Being pregnant with Art's kid in the public eye would have most definitely have pushed her more into the just the wife role. And for Patrick, I genuinely sympathized with this character in the beginning. He seemed like a genuine guy who was just down on his luck, broke, living out his car, but trying. Just for Tashi to casually drop he's a Nepo baby incognito? Jack Quaid, is that you? Like, bro, what are you doing here? Go home. So what's the backstory there? Why would he choose to live like this instead of going home to his family and getting a seat at the board or whatever Tashi said? I'm looking forward to rewatching the film knowing the true significance of Art and Patrick's match, as well as gaining a better understanding of the timeline. Because all the 3 years ago, 2 years after that, 6 minutes after that, bro, I don't know when we are or what we're doing here. And it's crazy because the movie opens with the title card. Boom, present day 2019. Where did that go? Like, why am I not getting timestamps, dates, years? I could tell you what happened in Atlanta. Couldn't tell you what year it takes place in at all. Why am I being held liable to do math accurately for over 2 hours? Bro, I failed college algebra. I can't do this. Patrick and Art's match, 2019. Donaldson up to serve. 12 years earlier, 2007, and this whole chunk of flashback is just Art at Stanford instigating to get Tashi, finally putting up a fight. The churro scene. Art tells Patrick, I'm not sure how she's thinking about all this. I don't want you to get hurt. And Patrick's not buying it for a second because, bro, what do you want about? You don't want Patrick to get hurt. But all that aside, such a beautiful line because it shows how at this point in time especially, their lines pertaining to loyalty are all crossed and overlapped. Art's being a terrible friend going after Patrick's girlfriend. But in the process, Tashi drops the bomb that is, who said I want someone to love me? Which raises red flags for Art because how serious is she taking this relationship? Yes, he's being a terrible friend, but he's still Patrick's friend. However, all this is muddled under him being a snake, so any subtext or hint of sincerity can't even be taken seriously. And that's why Patrick's the realest character, because he's the only one who could be honest with himself. He admits he'd be doing the same thing, and honestly, I think he'd do it better. Again, with the lines of loyalty being crossed and overlapped, Patrick doesn't even care that Art's trying to get with Tashi, nor does he question what impression Art got from what conversation that would lead him to believe Tashi doesn't perceive her relationship with him as serious. All he can say is, it's exciting to see you this way. Patrick, brother, this is why they go on to get rich together in an unhappy marriage while you're sleeping around to find a place to sleep. You are not Troy Bolton and that's your problem. Your head is not in the game. Throughout the churro scene, Hit 'Em Up style is playing in the background. Art says he would never do anything to get in the way of Patrick and his girlfriend, which is a lie, but okay, I'll let you have it. Patrick says, I know, it's not your style. You're playing percentage tennis. Essentially, Art is waiting around for Patrick to mess up, which is exactly what happens in like the next 10 minutes, but I feel there's a deeper connection between the song choice, the previously mentioned lines of dialogue, and the overall scheme of Art being up to serve, which in the year of 2007 manifests in him going after Tashi successfully. There's the obvious connection between Patrick describing Art's style, how exactly he would go about wrecking a happy relationship, and the song itself being called Hit 'Em Up style. But also, that whole song is about getting back at a cheater. So if you're willing to stretch your suspension of disbelief just a little bit, Art feels cheated by Patrick. When Patrick says he's at Stanford for Tashi, Art jokes, you're not here for me, which yeah, that can be seen as just a joke, but at the same time, damn, Patrick, like, I get it, Tashi's your girl, but you and Art have been friends since y'all were little kids, so it'd be understandable for Art to feel some type of way to an extent, even though Patrick did make the time out to see him. In 2006, when we get the lore drop that Patrick doing Art's serve means him and Tashi hooked up, Art's face visibly drops when Patrick turns his back. Yes, this can be perceived as Art being salty that Patrick got Tashi and he didn't, and I'm sure that's part of it, but Patrick being with Tashi puts a strain on his relationship with Art. Art sees it as Patrick moving on. Tashi and Patrick's fight is such a good scene. It reveals so much about the both of them. The scene was already tense when Patrick says he doesn't want to talk about tennis anymore. Tashi creates physical distance between them when she gets up to stretch. Patrick says, "We can't all go around calling ourselves the Dunkinator." And in the churro scene, we get a shot of Patrick looking at Tashi's Dunkinator poster, and you just know he's jealous. It makes sense because from his perspective, Tashi's excelling and getting all this praise because she's playing it easy, whereas he feels he's getting screwed over facing actual competition. He sees himself and Tashi as peers, and you just know Art never feels that way. You know he never sees himself as being on the same level as Tashi because in the past he never even saw himself as being on the same level as Patrick. He gives up too easy, and that's why Patrick and Tashi are so compelling. Their scenes are palpable. They don't work together because they're too similar, but that's what makes them interesting. Tashi asks Patrick, "What do you think you need from me?" And I'm literally gonna have a collection of Tashi lines imprinted on my hippocampus for the rest of my life because I love this line so much and what it reveals about the way she perceives love and functions in romantic relationships. We've already established tennis is Tashi's true love. And I think the way this manifests when she's pursuing love with real people and not just interacting with a sport is that she has to know her role and exactly how to play it. In tennis, she knows how to play to win. With Art, yes, she goes on to marry him and start a family, but she starts as his coach and she knows how to play that role extremely well. With Patrick, she doesn't know how to function in that relationship. When she tries to coach him, he doesn't like it, and he especially doesn't like the way she goes about it, which is a little mean, a little degrading, and he's not just gonna take it like Art would. This happens in their fight when Tashi starts to pick Patrick apart with her critique of, "And how's coasting by on talent going for you?" This is when the scene shifts. Which is crazy because she's being very mean, but she's also being very truthful. Like, imagine an alternate universe where Tashi still gets injured, but her fight with Patrick didn't blow up as much as it does. Art was never a snake, and Tashi still goes on to be a coach, but instead she coaches Patrick? Bro, they would have went down as the best tennis duo of all time. Patrick gets up and closes the distance Tashi put between them, and Josh O'Connor acts so well in this scene. He excels in all his scenes with Zendaya, especially when they're fighting, which is the predominant amount of their scenes. They're always fighting. I don't know what else he's been in, but if he has a role where he's even acting a little bit like a bully, I need to have seen it like yesterday. The way this fight ends with Patrick declaring he's not a member of her fan club, not her groupie, and definitely not her student. Oh, she was not feeling that whatsoever. And that could be read as her being domineering and wanting this sense of power over her boyfriend. But would she be completely wrong for that? Hear me out. Tashi is better than both her little white boys put together, as she calls them herself. So who are you calling the Dunkinator in that disparaging manner? Like, how are you gonna be mad at her because you're losing? You are clearly in need of a coach. But as Patrick, Tashi, who are you talking to like that? 3 years later, after Tashi's injury, 2010, Art and Tashi go on a date, which at the time, she'd probably deny it being a date, but that's exactly what it is. And she officially signs on as his assistant coach. Back to Patrick and Art's match 2019, Patrick angrily breaks his racket. And with this scene being placed right after Art successfully swooping in and winning his percentage tennis, this show of aggression and anger from Patrick symbolizes his reaction to losing Art and Tashi. Earlier that week, the week of Art and Patrick's match, 2019, Patrick runs into Tashi in the hotel. He asks her to be his coach and says that even if Art wins the tournament or the slam or whatever it's called, I don't know tennis, tennis. Art will only be a really good player. That's all she'll have accomplished with him. And he says what Tashi has known but denied, that being Art doesn't want to do this anymore, but he won't retire unless she lets him, and that she hates her husband. So if he retires, she'll probably leave him, because what is he to her without tennis? And we get the lore drop that is, does he know about Atlanta? A moment in history. Truly. The day before Art and Patrick's match, 2019, Patrick opening the sauna scene with, "Can you do me a favor? Can you not demolish me tomorrow?" A beautiful callback. And it shows how Patrick is going into this scene thinking they can go back to how they once were, which proves Art right when he critiques Patrick for not growing up. The audacity of Patrick to ask, "Why are you so angry with me? Patrick, I need you to be so for real." As if it's not revealed 10 minutes later that you hooked up with his wife. Come on. That couldn't possibly be why he is so angry with you. Patrick thinks maybe Art's still disturbed by the fact that Tashi could have been into someone like him. Art replies, "Yeah, when we were teenagers." Patrick hits a little giggle, a little tee-hee, and repeats the line back to him. Cut to Atlanta, 2011. The way in which this film chooses to sequence the sequence of events, grimy, because why would they do that? To go from, "She was only into you when we were teenagers," to Tashi cheating with Patrick as a full-grown adult? Diabolical. And in the sauna scene, Patrick and Art both know. Patrick doesn't know that Art knows because at the hotel he asks Tachi, what the oh my god. In the sauna scene, Patrick and Arth? What the Oh, okay, I got this. In the sauna scene, Patrick and Art both know. Patrick doesn't know that Art knows because at the hotel, he asks Tashi if Art knows about Atlanta. But Art, whether he wants to admit it or not, knows he saw the two of them in their little incriminating booth by the window, just cheating out in the open, no decorum. Then we cut back to the sauna scene 2019, Art confirming he does find it disturbing after we, the audience, get the confirmation that Patrick and Tashi hooked up in 2011. Disgusting activity. Deplorable. And Art seals the deal on him becoming Mr. Tashi Duncan in this very scene. He says, "You still think you could talk to me like you're my peer." And that's exactly what Patrick and Tashi's whole argument hinged on. Patrick reminds Art he's never beaten him, but Art says that doesn't matter. As he puts it, this is a game about winning the points that do matter. And this embodies Art's entire character. He lost juniors. He didn't get Tashi's number, but he instigated a lot and won a career-defining coach, a family, a lot of money, and a successful career. They mirror Patrick and Tashi's fight again when Art says Patrick doesn't matter, not even to the most obsessive tennis fan in the world. Patrick insists yet again, "We're not talking about tennis. This man is just trying to have a genuine relationship with these people, and all they could talk about are balls and rackets. I'd be sick to my stomach." Art attempts. An attempt was made to pull a Tashi with his, "What else do we have to talk about?" And it's like, Art, this isn't you. You don't even sound convincing. You're kind of soft. Because when you continue this conversation with your wife a scene later, you are scared. Real timid. Because you know she's gonna leave you if you can't beat this man, and you're not assured enough that you can. And even if by some miracle she does stay with you, even if you do lose to Patrick, you wanting to retire sealed the deal, brother. You might as well initiate the divorce yourself. Matter of fact, go call those lawyers, draft that paperwork. Back to Patrick and Art's match 2019. Art's winning, and Patrick smiles as if he knows something that Art does not. Midnight before Patrick and Art's match 2019, Tashi asks Patrick to lose the match. And it's very interesting to me that Patrick sees this as worse than cheating. And Tashi, girl, I need you to be so for real. Patrick, being the realist as per usual, says she did not leave her hotel room in the middle of the night shared with her daughter and husband for no reason. And she's gonna come back talking about, if that's the only way to get you to throw the match, then sure. Girl, you came here for one thing and one thing only. Securing the win for Art is solely how you justified and compartmentalized it. Yeah, Tashi and Patrick together are a disaster, but I eat it up every time. What can I say? Their fight in his car, beautiful. Playing a children's choir as they commit adultery right after she proceeded to spit in his face, gorgeous. And we close on Patrick and Art's match 2019. Tashi gets what she wants, watching some great tennis. But why do Art and Patrick smile at each other at the end? For Patrick, this is all he ever wanted. He loves tennis the most when he's playing with Art. But Art, why are you smiling? Why are you so happy? So for me, on the second watch, Art has now become the biggest mystery. For months, I've avoided any spoilers or commentary on this film so I could go in completely blind outside of what's in the trailers. I have a couple of videos sitting patiently in my watch later, and it's about that time. With a better understanding of the characters and especially the timeline, I hope to bring public opinion into my third and final watch of Challengers. I was hoping to find a somewhat popular opinion that I completely disagreed with, but I didn't really find anything like that. A conversation that I did hear multiple times was the debate over who is the villain. And I think an argument can be made for each character. Tashi, in my opinion, is the most superficially villainous. Early marketing advertised her as this man-eater. And yeah, in the movie, she is characterized by traits that are typically associated with villainy, especially when those traits are exhibited by women. She's mean, direct, domineering, dominant, really pulled out the thesaurus for this one. A case could be made that she's responsible for Art and Patrick's falling out, but Art and Patrick were both active participants in that, so that's not really fair. While all those things about Tashi are true, she's also the most tragic character. The one thing she loved, the one thing she was great at, was taken away from her, and the only way she can interact with it is by coaching, so that ensures there will always be a barrier. She'll never truly be satisfied. And the two men who, as grown adults, still aren't as good as she was as a teenager and never cared as much as she does. She has to watch them fulfill their dreams, her dreams, and still fall flat. When I say Tashi is bad, but she could be worse, I mean it. Even as a coach, she'll probably never be truly fulfilled because she'll probably never coach someone like her. It's not impossible, but doubtful that she'll ever have the opportunity to coach someone as talented as she was and dedicated as she still is. Art is another character that fits neatly into both the victim and villain role, but sometimes I feel like because Art is characterized as this soft little baby boy, his victimhood sometimes feels exaggerated. But you do feel bad for him, or at least I did, when he's initially pushed out of the throuple back in the day and when he's in his unhappy marriage that he finessed so hard to achieve. The fact that he's not a genuine person but tries so hard to come across as one is what pushes him into this awkward, cowardly villainy. Like, you're kind of giving Peter Pettigrew art. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I fear it's true. Patrick is an interesting case to me because according to my calculations, which are viable to be skewed, y'all are disproportionately crucifying this man for his alleged villainy. And my only question is, where? A grimy individual, 100,000%, but so are literally everybody else. Like, Miss Unfaithful on 2 occasions that we know of. I know that's not you talking. It can't be. And Mr. Tashi Duncan, go ahead and sit this one out, because, bro, what what are you on about? Patrick is just doing exactly what you did back in your Stanford days, swooping in, successfully winning his percentage tennis. You have every right to be mad, but, like, not every right. And it's hilarious because I don't know if it's coming across in this video, probably not, but honestly, I probably like Art more than Patrick. It's just like, bro, y'all not gonna crucify this man as if eeny, meeny, miny, mo, 1, 2, 3, all 3 of you are guilty. And as for Patrick being a victim, this man literally looks like he's gonna die every single time Art's even a little mean to him. So there is no true villain nor one sole victim. They're all capable of both. Tashi is hands down my favorite Zendaya character, and I've been watching Zendaya since Shake It Up premiered. I was already planning on watching the bike riders for Norman Reedus and Tom Hardy and that one girl from Killing Eve that I don't know the actress's name because I never really watched the show, but I've seen clips and I know she's a good actress. Austin Butler, Elvis accent or not, I'll take it. I'm seated. But Mike Face. Mike Fast. I don't know how to say his name because I didn't know this man existed before Challengers, but I will be writing for bike riders on all their behalves. And I am officially on the hunt, on the prowl, you could say, for anything Josh O'Connor. I need this man's entire filmography expeditiously. So, did Zendaya push audiences to watch Challengers 3 times for financial gain? Yes, I still stand by that. But Challengers is a beautiful film that deserves to be watched repeatedly, and you truly do gain a new perspective on each viewing. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at Nana's Rewrites, where I have the outtakes, which is everything that didn't make the cut for this video. Look forward to my spooky season summaries, where I'll be recapping old Halloween episodes and movies on Instagram starting in September going through October. If you're back from my first video, thank you. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go check out Grand Army Should Have Been Netflix's Euphoria. But first, a sneak peek for the next one. Have I dragged Netflix in the past? Going as far as to reply never ever to a comment claiming Netflix fumbled with Grand Army and I will never forgive them. Yes, I did. And I stand by that. However, previous statements made on my behalf may have to be redacted because Netflix, y'all gave Kimmy Todoke a 3rd season? Say less.